About the report with your meeting with Dr. Gouge, and can you be specific about any of the things y'all talked about?
Yeah, I met with Dr. Gouge late last week, and he told me the findings of the report, just like those that we just talked about. We have to, we got to continue to improve our internal operations, our game day experience, on and off the field, and also another key point is our interaction with our fans and alumni, we look forward to continue to improve in those areas, and just ready to aggressively move forward and get better.
Do you have any plans to conduct a survey of any sort to help with game day experience, like polling, ticket holders or anything of that sort?
Mm-hmm. And we've already done that. We do that annually. And I saw the results. We do it to 3 different groups. I know we've done it for 2 groups. We do it for our suite holders, our scholarship donors, and then the general fan. I know we've done the suite holders and scholarship donors. I don't know if the general fan, we've done that survey or not. Our people in donor services does that. And we'll pull all those surveys together and we'll publish those reports as to what people say. Plus it helps us, know what opportunities for improvement are.
You learned anything from that initially so far? Any feedback?
Yeah, well, not only from the surveys, but just walking around on on A Day. The challenge that we have, as I mentioned in there, is that when we talk to our coaches about recruiting prospective student athletes, the key to it is getting them on campus. It's getting them to Auburn, and we think that's the key for our fans. And to find ways that we can continue to enhance the game weekend experience. And a lot of that starts with accessibility to parking and to tailgating. And so when you do the surveys, and I just looked at them briefly, and they haven't compiled a report yet, but when you do the surveys, the things that we can control are the tailgating experience and the parking, and also the food, the quality of the food in the stadium, and then certainly the things that we've done around the game day have been very positive. But we always learn ways that that we can improve, and we certainly look forward to those.
You've highlighted the areas that need to get better. What are you going to change starting next year, starting immediately, to get better?
What are we going to change?
Any areas that you're going to actually change? What are you going to change?
Yeah, well, a couple of things we've done as far as winning goes. We made the biggest change in December when we hired Gus, and we're certainly excited about that. That's a big change. It's one of our top goals is winning, and and as he said, it's a new day, and to have 83,000 people show up at A Day, that's pretty big. Also from the game day experience, we partnered with the Disney Institute, and that's been great for our internal people and our third-party vendors that we contract with to provide a better game day experience. So those are a couple of things, along with the tailgating that we mentioned. We're looking at our internal operations. Do we have everybody situated properly? Just continue to evaluate what we do every day and make sure that their athletics department is a cutting-edge athletics department. We've got the best athletics department in the nation.
Jay, Dr. Gouge said there was room for substantial improvement. These aren't just routine improvements. It doesn't sound like in the language, at least, that he used. Was there any one area outside of winning that needed to be addressed the most?
James, those that I mentioned today are the areas. The game day, game weekend, on and off the field, our communication, and our working with our donors and our fans and alumni, how we treat them, and internal operations, making sure that we're most effective and efficient organization in the nation, in the athletics department.
You're working with JMI Sports in some capacity?
We are. We started working with them back in December, and they're doing a review of a lot of different things in our athletics department, and one of them is how we operate and are we efficient and effective. It's always great, just like this committee that came in, it's always great to have a fresh eyes approach, because sometimes, maybe as you do in your job too, you get into doing things and you realize that, this is the way we've always done it, which is, that's not the best way to be successful. So you bring in a group and you look and say, hey, you thought about doing it this way. And that's what JMI is providing for us. And they've been working with us.
Can you tell what they are, JMI?
It's called, it's a company, Philip, John Moore, I believe he used to, or maybe still does, own the Padres. And they have a group of people, and they've been involved in athletics in a lot of different ways, but we're one of the first institutions, or if not the first institution, where they've actually come in and they're looking at all operations. Sometimes they'll come in and just look at your ticket operation. Sometimes they'll come in and just look at your strategic plan for your facilities. Sometimes they'll come in and just look at your organizational chart. We've asked them to come in and look at everything that we do, and they've got a great team of people with different backgrounds and professions and capabilities, and so it's been great working with them, and we'll continue to work with them throughout the rest of the year.
Is that ongoing right now?
It's ongoing right now, yeah. We started, I believe, back in December.
And does it go through the whole year, you say?
Goes through the whole year, yeah.
In your opinion, why was an external investor review of this nature kind of warranted at this time?
Well, I think that it's part of, as the president said, they oftentimes do this for academic units, bring in, outside groups to look at it. And I think that it was in the best interest of Auburn athletics to have people come in with a fresh eyes approach, a great group of people that are business people, former athletes, former athletic administrators, to come in and take a look, marketing people, come in and take a look and say, we know this is how the athletics world operates, but here's some economy of scale or some efficiencies or some room for improvement. So I think it was great.
Jay, you mentioned ticket sales are going pretty well for football.
Mm-hmm.
So you said 3 areas are up. Those 3 areas.
The 3 areas are the gold, the orange, and the blue.
And how about those?
The area that is down right now is our gray area, which is our lowest level seating, and that's what you would expect, because people that normally sit in the gray area, those are sometimes, depends on where you like to watch the game from, sometimes those are the less desirable seats in the end zone. And most of those people wait until it gets closer to game time. Do I have to pay the Tigers Unlimited priority, or can I just go buy the tickets? So it's not anything abnormal. The great news is that we're ahead of year to date as where we were coming out of 2008, and that's a great benchmark for us, because coming off a 3-9 season, didn't know what to expect, and then the ticket sales starts going along, and then A-Day, and just the momentum with the commitments the football program has had, and the passion of the Auburn people. It's really a great thing, and it's actually helped people, renew people's interest in buying those tickets.
You mentioned master plan for baseball. You talked about having a look ahead at football. When the time comes, what are some of the things you want to address at Jordan-Hare Stadium?
Well, what we did, Jason, was, and I think you all know this, but for those of you that don't, I lose a little bit of track. A couple of years ago, we went out and we looked at a lot of different stadiums, and we went with an architecture firm, and we built a master plan for our stadium. If time doesn't matter and money doesn't matter, this is what we could do, and we could fill it up every Saturday. This is what we could do for our stadium. And so it's all encompassing, Jason. The premium seating is an area that people are moving more toward, because you can build fewer seats and generate more revenue and amenities, which improve the game day experience, as opposed to building an upper deck with 10,000 general admission seats or whatever it may be. Certainly have to continue to look at our locker room and our facilities, those type of things. What else can we do around the stadium to enhance the game day and game weekend experience? Those are the things.
Jay, Matt Crawford came out in his statement and said that overall the department, the review committee feels it's in good shape, and you've gone over previously and today all the positives in the other areas outside of winning. But for a fan who sees that over the last 2 years you guys ranked 104 out of 125 in the major 3-team sports, and the losing that has taken place, it's hard for somebody to square those two things and say you're in good shape when you've been losing on these levels. Do you agree that outside of, we know certain things are in good shape financially and other things, but the winning is what the fans care about the most, and you know that. So do you feel that that's in good shape at this point?
When we talk about winning, as I said in there, James, that's the first goal we mentioned, and we know how important winning is. And a 3-9 football season is unacceptable, so we made a change. So from a football perspective, I feel great about where we're headed with Gus. He said it's a new day. and I believe it's a new day. And he's demonstrated that he's a fierce competitor, and gosh, he's a tireless worker, and he's a great ambassador for Auburn. I don't know if any head coach has been to more events outside of football than he has in the last 4 months. And also, the staff he's put together, it's incredible. Not only great coaches, but great recruiters. So from a football perspective, yeah, 3-9 is not good. And it's unacceptable here at Auburn. That's why I made a change. And, the decision I made with Tony, I just explained, but I'm happy to say it again, is that, 3 years at Auburn, we have a lot of history to overcome. And, Sonny Smith took 7 years to get to the NCAA, and Cliff took 5. And, but I made the decision, and that's a call that AD's made. And now he's got to produce. We got to look for results, and we'll see how that is. And so I'm very excited about women's basketball. Coach Flo, she's exciting, and I love what she's doing from a recruiting standpoint. Had to make a change in softball with Tina Dees. She started the program here. It's a tough thing, but winning's important, as you mentioned, James, and I think we can do better in softball. So I think that moving forward, that we're taking the steps to make us better, and particularly with that goal that you're mentioning, winning.
Speaking of softball, what's the process for hiring a coach?
The process will be we'll have a committee of some former athletes, some former softball players, and we certainly, Philip, as you know, and many of you know, we won't contact anybody while they're still playing. That's just not how we do business. And so as the season ends, for these teams that are playing in postseason play, conference tournaments, or NCAA, we'll begin to reach out to athletics directors of those coaches in which we're interested in talking to Auburn.
Well, Meredith kind of lead the search.
Meredith will organize and be the chair of the search, chairwoman of the search committee. But I'll make the ultimate call. I'll certainly listen to hear what the committee has to say.
With Tony bringing him back, what are the results that you expect to see as next season?
For us to get better. I believe, and you guys will know better than me, but I believe that we lost about 10 games, 11 points or less, and I believe we lost another 5, 6 points or less, 15 games that are a couple possession games. And, I think the transfer in from Rutgers at a point guard, I think that's going to help. And certainly having KT, come in from Montgomery and transferred in from Virginia, I think that's going to help. And now, now Tony has his team, and just look for a competitive team. There's no number to say. We'll know what getting better is and the results we expect.
How will you know when you see getting better? I mean, without maybe a number, but how much better does the program as a whole need to get in your opinion?
Well, it just depends on a lot of different things. But I don't want to see it.
Up and down season for the baseball team. Obviously, they're on a little bit of a roll right now, but they're in danger of missing the NCAA tournament again. Just you address John Pawlowski's future.
No, we never talk about coaches or personnel, in the media or before the end of the season. I'm just I'm pleased with the momentum we picked up the last couple of weekends and how our RPIs dropped down considerably. And golly, we lost a heartbreaker Saturday night. That guy threw a great game and left one up there a little bit and cost us a game. But what a great young man Michael is, and going over 100 pitches was great. And, but the thing that I was proud of was how they bounced back on Sunday after that. I mean, that impacts you, and how they bounced back on Sunday and won that game. And looking forward to Thursday night having Arkansas come in here, who's another good team in this league, as they all are, and trying to win some games and then get into the SEC tournament and see how it all plays out. There's so many dynamics that go into the NCAA baseball committee, and we just got to do our part and keep doing like we've been doing.
Jay, you talked about basketball, but I'm sorry. If you were, it has to be a little bit disturbing to see players jumping ship every year.
I believe last year, John, in men's basketball, I believe there were about 450 basketball players that transferred. It's a national trend, and You know, the APR came into play in large part because of men's basketball and baseball. And I think it has really helped baseball in settling that down, all the transfers, you know, back and forth. And, you know, from the NCAA level, we got to continue to look at men's basketball, what it is we can do to try to help these guys get an education at one place and stay and compete. So it's challenging.
Jay, on that issue, it may be a national trend, but and you mentioned APR. You guys last year, I know the new score will come out, but last year you were at 925. That won't qualify going forward, and you had over 3 years under Tony, 9 of 14 kids leave. Transfers are a trend, but 9 of 14 over 3 years is not a trend. That's extremely high.
Is it?
Yeah, that's extraordinarily high.
Yeah.
That's acceptable in this short term, even with an APR as borderline as it is right now for qualification purposes?
Well, I think what you're going to see in the next couple of months is the NCAA release our APR, and I think we're all going to be pretty comfortable where we are. APR. And you do understand, James, that if a student athlete has a certain grade point average, which is 2.6, they don't count against the APR.
How much you felt it, and then also how much, I knew you had a friendly audience today, but there's been a lot of angst with this, obviously, with the different programs struggling almost across the board. I mean, how much of that have you heard and you kind of understand it, I would assume?
Oh, I've heard a lot of it. I felt it myself. You know, as you know, growing up a Auburn fan and you know, walking on and playing here, winning means everything to me. I'm not going to do it at any cost. I'm not going to compromise our integrity to win, but I've heard it. Sometimes I hear it when I go home. So it's loud and clear. The Auburn people are passionate. And that's why you have the largest crowd in the nation show up at a A-Day game. And they love this institution, and they expect better. And we're going to get better. It's been a tough year, but I tell you this, we're going to bounce back.
So this was a blip this year? You don't think it's not going to repeat itself?
No.
Couple more, guys?
We talked a little bit about just the criticism in the fan base that you've
Just the
seen.
what?
The criticism in the fan base that you've seen comes with the job. As an Auburn man that you are, it's in your blood. How tough is that to been able to face from fellow Auburn fans, people that want to see the same things that you do?
It hadn't been tough. I mean, you know, I guess it's just because of my background and how I got here as a walk-on, just fighting every day. There's no one person or any group that can put more pressure on me to be excellent than anybody else. And don't misunderstand me. I appreciate the passion of the Auburn people. I mean, isn't it wonderful that we're at a place where in May we can talk about football and got a room full of reporters. I mean, there's a lot of places that you don't have that. So we're very blessed to be at a place where it means so much. And, you know, to talk to these civic leaders and these community leaders, because it impacts them. It impacts their sales, it impacts their hotel rooms, it impacts their restaurants. And but I hear it and I know it, but there's nothing anybody can do or say to put more pressure on me than I already put on myself to make sure that we're excellent in every area. I just believe that, you know, having grown up Auburn and what it's done for me, win championships and the way that it has formed me formally, educationally, and informally as a man with what I believe to be character and integrity. I believe that every student, and particularly student athletes that's under my stewardship, deserves that. And regardless of what happens, the good or the bad, I'm going to fight every day for those student athletes to have that experience, because I believe that's what we owe to the generation behind us. And that's what we owe as Auburn men and women.
Jay, I hate to be the one to ask this, but it
Wait,
seems like if you're having a lengthy discussion with Dr. Gooch, was your job situation or discussed at all, or did you have to kind of give him, say, I'm going to plan, I mean, kind of any specific plans on your part to turn things around that you had to kind of give him?
You know, I think that in the business we're in, your job is always on the line. And but I'll tell you this, that I think we're going to have a chance to have a lot of conversations, John, moving forward. I think I'm going to be here for a while. And I look forward to the challenge of taking this program where Dr. Gooch and I and all Auburn fans expect it to be. And I'm up for the challenge, and I'm ready to move us forward. Just like some of the things that we've talked about, we've already done.